Hello, Moira. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, my name's Moira, as Ali said. I'm a now ex-student of University of Aberdeen, so just graduated with a degree in archaeology from the university. And Ali gave me some lovely flints to look at and to photogrammetry, which she dropped on my doorstep at a distance, obviously, and do some photogrammetry of. So this is the nice bag of flints that you gave me. Come on. It's going to be a bit slow. That's it. So, and this was my setup to test on the photogrammetry. It's a bit DIY, as you can see. I tried it with a light box because Stuart McIntyre, he mentioned doing a light box. So this is a box from work, stuck together, cut out, and put tissue paper around it to see if I could get the flints to work, because I was dealing with artificial light, and I was trying all sorts to see how I could get all the photos to align in the software. So this was my first try of a light box. It didn't really work very well because I was still missing the back of the flints. So for my setup, I used, I got 2 desk lamps here. You can't see it, but I've got underlighting on my cabinets in my kitchen. So it's on my kitchen worktop. Set up the light box and my camera set up on 2 books just to keep it close to the flint as I could. You can't actually see it in this bit, but to keep the barrel of the camera steady, I had my hay fever medicine underneath just to keep it steady because it was going up and down a bit, the barrel. So it was a total DIY job. But so that didn't, when I put the flint on this cake stand and secured it with white tack, because that was the best, just to keep the flint upright. And I tried using a little white tack as I could. So when I was processing it, you couldn't see the white tack on it. And then I went away and photographed it. So I put a bit of white tack on the cake stand as well to mark where I started. And then I turned the cake stand slowly around, taking photos as I went. Took about 80 to 120 photos as a rough guide for doing the photogrammetry. You need a lot of photos to get the 3D image. So I moved it around every now and then, taking photos. But so this didn't work very well because I didn't get the light at the back very well of the flint. I was missing the back of the flint. So then I thought about it, and then I went with this setup, which worked really well. Again, my kitchen lights underneath, the 2 lights here without the light box, and did it on here. And that worked really well with the images. And I kind of left that setup on my kitchen worktop, so I had to work around it in my kitchen while I was doing my normal stuff. But because it worked so well, I just left the setup and I put a bit of white card as a background because the grey was interfering with the photos. So I just put a bit of white card up here as the background. So when I was processing it, it didn't interfere too much with the flints that were sitting on here. So once I'd done selected my flints, did about 40 flints in total. It took about 2 weeks to take all the photos and process them and that through it. So, and that's all the photos I needed. So there's 75 photos here of this one flint, and you can see all the sides of the flint as well, every single angle I needed to process it into the software that I had. So once I've got all this and I put it on my laptop, I then went to software called Mushroom, which is free software. It's open source. It's free to anyone to use. I would advise you using a powerful computer. I've got a MSI gaming laptop, which I use, and it takes 2 hours to process on that. My HP, it used to take overnight. So that's why I got a powerful laptop. So for opening software up, you get your photos. I usually have them side by side in 2 windows, and then I drop my images into here. So it's really easy to use. It can be configured to what you want it to do, but I just left it at default settings. So I drop the photos into here. and then it would start processing them. So that's the photos dropped in. As you can see, they've all got the camera light there. So that's them dropped into it. It always shows one photo here. So, and then once I've got all that set up, I would press the start key. And then this is it going through the process, and you can see the ring there. If you've got a ring, a camera, lights like that, it's good. If you only get half of that or something missing, I had to stop it and redo it. And then retake the photos again, put them in the software again and see how it went. But what's good with Meshroom is that I can see what's going on when it's working through the photos. So if only had half a semicircle there, I could stop the program, shut it down, retake the photos, put photos back in and redo it again, and then see how they were looking on this side of the window as well. And that's basically going through it. The green was for it's processed that bit, orange was what it was doing, and then turquoise was what it's got to do basically. And it takes about it's really easy software to use, and it takes about 2 hours on my gaming laptop. Like I said, it could probably take overnight on a normal laptop. You've got to have the processing power base and the graphics card for it. And all these bits down here is what you can change, which I didn't because I just left it default settings because it's a lot easier. So once that's all done, and once it's going through it as well, when it's going through all the stages, it gives you folders of everything that's happening, because that's what you need to go back into once you've done your photos, done this, gone through the software. You can go through these, and this texture folder is what you need. So this is at the end of, once it's gone all green, so it all went through fine, and all these are green. It tells you there 75 out of the photos aligned, which means all of them aligned basically. You sometimes get, what's good about here is that it tells you how many photos have aligned and what didn't align. If it doesn't align, you usually get a red camera there, which means photos didn't align, so you can see which ones didn't align. You can always take the photos again and insert them into that photo if you wanted to. But I just took them all again and just redid it again because it was easier. And then at the end here, which I've forgotten to put in, is an add texture button. Once it's all done its progress, you get an add texture button, which you press that and it gives you your texture for the flint. And you can see every single camera is aligned here. So I've got a nice circle, which is good if you get a nice circle like that. Then to extract this object from this program, you shut this down, and again you go back to your folders. So in your texturing folder here, which is processing, you've got this, it's an object file, OBJ file. It comes up on my laptop, the 3D object. But that's a file you need. I'm going to work with in another software that I have, which I got mixed results with to start with, and Stuart McIntyre put me onto Meshroom, and it works really well. I got really great results for that. I just blast through them all with Meshroom. It was brilliant software. I take them into Agisoft Metashape, which is paid for software. I've got a student version, which is about 50, 60 quid, something like that. And this is what I've been using to clean it up. So once I've taken it out of Meshroom, this is what it looks like, basically, out of Meshroom. Then I've got to clean it up, because I can't put that up onto online because it didn't look very good now with bits of my cake tray, cake stand floating down there. So then I clean it up. So once I've cleaned it up, I take away all this. It's very easy to clean up actually in this, because it's this key here. I drop that down and I can select like a triangle, and you're like, it's a bit like opposite of cropping, because I highlight the whole flint and then I press the crop button up here, and it takes everything else away except the flint. So I know for cropping you would just select a certain bit you want to crop and get rid of the rest. So basically I'm highlighting the flint and I'm cropping everything else away, and I just do that. I zoom in, tidy it up to get rid of all this white bits and that as well. And I can fill holes as well in it if I want to in the mesh. Sometimes I get a bit of hole sometimes because the camera hasn't seen that angle yet. And then this is it cleaned up, it plays. And that's it, all nicely cleaned up in the software. and you can see where the white tack was at the bottom there, but I can't have, you'd have to laser scan to get the whole flint in, but because I'm working putting on a surface, I have to have that bit of hole there. But suppose it's nice, you can see inside the flint as well. So that's it all cleaned up. So once it's in there, I save it as a file just in case I need to go back into the software again, and then I export it from the file bit up here. I go file and export it as a model. So it's exporting as a 3D model, which I can then put up into Sketchfab. Once I've done all that, that's it there again. I upload it into here, my Sketchfab account online, where I've got most of my models. So you upload it into, once I sign in, I upload it into here, and then I have to do some changes to it, because it scared me to start with when I uploaded a file, because it's just pure white. There's no texture, there's no colours, nothing. It's just a pure white file I get on here. So once I go through Sketchfab, you go to the Edit 3D settings, and I can edit the light. I can, usually it's always the opposite way around, so I have to make sure it's the right way up by the X and Y and Z settings, which are in here. I can edit the light settings, so I want the light to be darker or lighter on one side and that. I've got it on the material setting just now because, like I said, when it loads in, it's just pure white. There's no texture, nothing on it. And you can load your texture in by pressing the down arrow here. You can load the texture in. It's like a JPEG file. The texture's kept in. You load that in and you can adjust the metalness of it, specular. Just, you can adjust it so it looks kind of like the flint as you'd handle in real life. The glossiness as well, the roughness of it, so I can make more glossy. I do put displacement on, which means when it does load up in the 3D software, it does look a bit jagged until it gets all together, loads itself up and gets all together and round into a nice flint. And there's so much else you can do down here as well, which I haven't really looked at. And you can add background, you can do there's so much you can do with this stuff as well in here. So once you've done that, you save the settings, and that's it uploaded. And then you upload it into your Sketchfab, and you just press publish, and that's it published for the web for anyone to see, basically, if they want to see it. And because after I'd done all that, you asked me if I could do a video of all the flints as well. So PowerPoint, I did it in PowerPoint video, which again tested my skills trying to get that to work. But I made it working because I had to go back into Agisoft Metashape and save it as an FXB file, I think it is, to get it to go into PowerPoint. And I created this little video with a photo that I nicked off Facebook. It's all free on Facebook, according to me. And then put them into here. I had to put them in as each slide. And then I had to put on the rotations twice. I put twice rotation on, so it rotates twice round. I set the slides to about 20 seconds per slide, and I put information about the bags and that on here. So, and it's about 15 minutes long if you like to watch flints go round and round and see all different flints they are. Again, you've got light settings on here as well. You had to try and adjust, but you're very limited to adjusting the settings and the colours to get it to look. They do look bigger here because I made them bigger, just so people could see them, and that as well. And there's about 40 odd flints in here, so I fast forward it a bit, you can see them all the way the camera's picked up all of them and that as well.
The light on those is really nice, Moira. Is that's something that you've added in for putting it onto PowerPoint?
Yeah, you could change your light settings on the images as well. So I was having a look through the settings. You could change your light settings, and you could have like autumn. There's a couple of settings you could do in it as well. So, and there's
I mean the detail on that, where you've got those little faults at the top of it on the right hand side, and then the detail of the I suppose that's the blade side, or just at the edges, is absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, because I showed Josh my flints on Sketchfab, and he's asked if you could get the cuts and the micro wear and stuff in it as well, more detail on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I might need to look at them again and see if I can do that with my little setup.
Yes, I mean that would be great. Moira, how long would you think it takes to do one flint then? Because obviously there's all these different processes. Roughly, how many hours per flint?
Photos didn't take long. They're about 20 minutes, half an hour, I say, taking the photos, because you've got to go around and stand there and just click every single angle. And the software, putting in software is 2 hours. And I know that because I timed it once. It's about 2 hours putting into software on my MSI laptop. And then processing it's probably about 4 hours, because you've got to process it, clean it up, put it into Sketchfab, do your changes in Sketchfab. So I'd say about 3 to 4 hours from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean there's quite a lot of work involved in each one of these.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely worth it. I mean, I think this is such a nice way to show people, who can't, or obviously not everybody can see the actual originals. So I think it's just such a lovely way to.
And also with the camera, trying to get, I meant to say at the beginning, trying to get the settings right, because with dealing with artificial light, when I take a photo on auto settings on my camera, it doesn't look like the flint. So I had to learn about putting on manual settings on my camera, changing the ISO, to like 100, 200 or 400, depending which one worked for that, and the white balance as well to get that working, which I got that set up okay. So it's all these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think this is great. We've obviously going to have to surrender these flints to Treasure Trove at some point over the next few years.
Well, I've got to get my flat first.
Well, yes. But it's just so great to have this sort of record of them.
Yeah, I mean, you can keep them forever, and they don't take up much space either.
That was what I was going to ask. How much space then do each one? So you've obviously got all your original photographs. Would we keep them as part of the record?
I would say yes, because if you needed to go back and do it for any reason, you've got the photos there to work with. I mean, you could delete them and just leave 3D model, but if you ever need to go back and look at the photos for any reason, you've got them as a reference. It would take up quite a bit of space.
And how much for each? If you're keeping all the images plus the model, how many megabytes roughly for each flint?
I'd say being gigs actually.
Oh, okay, wow.
I think you'd probably be a gig at least. Probably less than that actually, because the photos I took them in JPEG. So I took them in medium settings, so they wouldn't take up too much. You're probably looking at 500 megabytes probably for the model.
For each flint and the model.
It's quite a lot because the photos take up a lot of space. And depends how high a level you take your photos as well.
All right. Well, we're going to have to transfer all that data sometime to ATS, for their archive and to Bruce for the SMR. So, yes, well, we will do that. I think it's important to keep the original pictures. I think the original photos as well with it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well,
what's good? Sorry, one other thing. What's good with Mushroom is you can put raw photos into that as well. Because with Microsoft, you've got to use JPEGs, but I noticed with Mushroom, if you take photos in RAW, you can put them straight into the software as well, which is really good open source software. It's free as well, but only works on Windows 10 and above. Well, it's not above yet. It only works on Windows 10. It doesn't work on Macs because Stuart tried to get work on his Mac. It didn't work. So.
Oh dear, Stuart's got an old-fashioned dear.
He's got a powerful Mac, but the software they've only released it for Windows.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's important if you're doing this, obviously, to, you've done a lot of research onto what the best equipment, software and hardware and everything is to use. So, yeah.
I knew I had to get a budget gaming laptop, because my HP, it struggled. My normal laptop struggled, so I knew I had to get a splash out on a gaming laptop.
Luckily, you do gaming as well, Moira. So.
Yeah. I am slightly using it for gaming just now, yes. I said I never would.
No, absolutely. Anyway, thanks, Moira, for talking about this. Anything else you want to say before we?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Thank you. Actually, yeah, thank you very much for letting me do this. It's been like really good for me because I've learned all about my camera. I've got more techniques in this better as well. You see, the first couple of flints were okay, but I got better as I went along, so I got the setup ready. And that, so just thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're welcome. I think lockdown's been really good actually for having a bit of time to sort of train yourself in various things. I mean,
Yeah.
we've all been learning during this time, so it's been brilliant.
Hmm.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.